Oh, it says we are live. Yes, that's what it says. Oh, that's what it says, that we are live right here. Where is the camera? I've been trying to figure this camera thing out. What if I turn it this way? Is that better? Yes, that's better, I think, for how I need to talk, for where I need to look. Is that better? Thank you all so much for joining us for the Good Fight. We are live every single week right here from 7 to 8 o'clock p.m. so that we can wrestle with our faith together. Because the goal for me, the goal that I have for my own life, that I offer you to consider, is that we will embody our faith, that we will show up as the God we say we believe in, the God we say we profess. I mean, the God we profess, like the God that we have faith can do all of these things, can perform miracles, like all of the stuff that we say about God. Rather than waiting for God to come down to the earth to make it happen, we actually embody that, and we understand our role as divine in this world. So that's what we do right here every single Tuesday. We call it the Good Fight because there's a whole lot of fighting going on, but not all the fights that we enter into are good. But there are good fights that we can fight. We can put our bodies on the line for things that really mean something to us, that for things that really matter, and for things that can make a difference all over this world. So that's what we're here to do for the next hour. I'm super excited to be your guide, the Reverend Doctor. You can call me Denise. And I greet you in the spirit of Salbona, that spirit of oneness. Salbona is a Zulu tribal greeting that on its face is just a hello. It's a way of saying, of signaling to you that I see you. I do that now. I sit out on the porch every day that I walk. If I walk, I'm gonna sit out on the porch. And when I sit out on the porch, there are some people, every time a car goes by, I throw up the deuces. Every time a car goes by, I throw up the deuces. And some people speak and some people don't. But the people who don't speak is because they don't see me. They don't look up and recognize that I am there. And sometimes it's because they, most people keep two eyes on the road at all times. But most of us, especially when we're in neighborhoods, we have a tendency to look around. And so when they look at me and they see me throwing up the deuces, I'm throwing up the deuces to say I see you. And if they respond, it's because they're like, oh, I see you too, bum. Or sometimes they see me after they've passed a little bit, like, bum, I see you. And that's basically how the Salbona works. It says, I see you. I want to acknowledge you in my presence. And then it also works as an invitation, because whether you acknowledge me or not is yours to decide. So you can decide to keep rolling, because some people do look at me and look back and don't say anything. So you can decide for yourself whether or not to respond to my hello. And that's how Salbona is. I'm inviting you into my space, into a space where you are seen and heard and respected and honored and celebrated. But you have to receive that. You have to, first of all, be aware of your surroundings. And secondly, you have to say yes to the invitation. So the Salbona is an invitation for us together to operate in the spirit of our humanity, the oneness that is our humanity. And you can choose yes, you can choose no. If you choose yes, and we were in Africa, you would say, yay, Bo Salbona. Like, yes, I see you too. So in that spirit of oneness, where we are inviting each other into spaces so that you can be the whole of who you are, there are no parameters on the people who show up here in this space. If this is your first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. If this is your 100,000th time, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are willing to wrestle with us around what it means to be faithful in this day and age, then you are welcome in this space, and your presence is needed and wanted and honored for sure. There are ways that you can engage with the good fight today, and one of those ways is to locate yourself in the story. I am reading. I've been telling everybody about. I cannot tell enough people about this. This walking podcast that my friend Susanna sent to me. So you're supposed to listen to it 5 days a week for 30 minutes a day. Like, that's the goal of the podcast, to extend the life expectancy for Black women by 10 years in 10 years. One of the ways that you can live longer is to walk 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. And so this walking podcast is designed to assist you on your walk. So while you are walking, you are learning, you are growing, you are having ouch moments. You see areas where you need to improve. You realize there are things that you don't know. Like, it's a lot happening during these 30 minutes that you're listening to the podcast. And I am so grateful for it, that I want everybody that I can think of to be a part of the experience. 1 million Black women joined all over the world, walking together to defy the odds, to dismantle the system of healthcare that is really sick care in our country, that says that our bodies are not worth living longer. We resist that with every ounce of our being, with every step that we take. And I have been intrigued by this. I've been intrigued by this podcast because there's so much in it that I do not know. There's so much that I'm like, what? Hey, Takia. Hey, Takia. I see you. There's so much that I don't know, and especially about Black history. And I don't know how you feel, but when I learn something new about my history, it makes me furious for the moment. I get over it. But I'm infuriated. I'm like, how much stuff, how much information, how much data, how much education have you systematically, intentionally hidden? Like, you are just acting like it's just amazing to me. It boggles my mind and it makes me so mad. And then that's my first reaction. And then I'm like, listen, what now? What? Let me go do some homework. Let me do some research. And then it's like, how can I apply this to my life? How can I apply this in my live feeds, in my creations? Like, how can I respond to this in my art? Like, I really get on it after I get over being infuriated, because here's just yet another piece that they don't want us to know. So I'm learning so much about me. I'm learning so much about Blackness. I'm learning so much about how much I don't know about Blackness. Like, I'm learning a lot. So any of you interested in that, it's Self-Care School. You can go to any podcast, any platform where you receive your podcast, and you can find self-care that's powered by Girl Trek. Takia says this. Show up now. Takia says, everything I learned, I literally respond, what the hell? I am either furious or, listen to Takia. Everything I learned, I literally respond with, what the hell? I am either furious or tired. Oh my goodness. Furious or tired, or both. James Baldwin has that quote about, why didn't I bring my phone? James Baldwin has that quote about, to live, I'm paraphrasing because I didn't bring my phone to pull it up exactly, but he paraphrases it by saying, I'm paraphrasing by saying, to live in this world as a Black person is to be in a perpetual state of rage. Like, you cannot help but to be angry to live in this world, particularly as a Black person, a member of the diaspora, because of all of the things that it does and all of the ways that it treats us and all of the information that's not shared. Like, it is just like, so when you say I'm tired, some people are tired, some people are mad, some people are angry, some people are furious, some people are both. Like, it's just a lot. It's a lot. And so I was listening to, I really don't know why I brought up Girl Trek. I think I was just excited because I don't think it has anything to do with the conversation today. I don't know. I did that Sunday when I was preaching. Like, I had this idea in my head that I was going to say something, but I think I changed the idea and forgot that I had changed the idea. So when I started preaching, I was with the original idea, and halfway through, I was like, did you change it? So I don't know. Maybe I thought I was going to say something about the Girl Trek, but I'm not, at least not right now. What I want to talk about is the Real Housewives of Atlanta. It's a clip from them that I want to talk about, not a clip from the podcast. So I have this cousin. Her name is Candace. We are first cousins, and we love each other dearly. But our love for each other really doesn't have anything to do with us being cousins. I don't know if any of y'all are like that, but there are some people in my family that we are related, that I'm related to by blood, that I don't know nothing about. I'm not even mad at them. Nothing has even happened, but we just never developed a relationship. We just never developed a connection. We just never started this journey together towards friendship. We just haven't. Now I will see you at the family reunion. I know your name. I know your wife, your ex-wife, your mistress. I know all of that. I know if you have a partner, if you are same gender loving. I know if you have children. I know if one of them died. Like, I know things like that. But me and you, we just don't gel like that. Like, it just hasn't happened. So my cousin and I, this particular cousin Candace, we are actually cousins, but we're friends too. So we for real friends. And we reach out to hold each other accountable. We reach out to hold space for each other. We reach out to create sacred space for each other. We reach out to just check on each other. Like, we just do that. That's just who we are. And one of the things that we've been working on for the past few years is making sure that we preserve our peace at all times, in all places, in front of all folks. Like, that is the most important thing. No matter what, that's what I'm going to do. And so, and it's the peace everywhere. Peace in my home, peace on my job. Like, I'm going to preserve my soul, the peace of my soul. So wherever I am, I need to have some peace. But in particular, I got to have peace at home. Because if you ain't got peace at home in this world, where else you going to have peace? I don't know, because this is the only place that I find myself at peace, at total rest. And so she called me one day because she was furious and tired about the portrayal of Black women, especially through the series, the reality show, the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I am not a reality show watcher. Well, that's not true. I watch reality cooking competition shows. I watch reality shows about reality murders in our world. So when I say reality murders, I'm like, this is not something Hollywood made up. Like, these are real live instances where people got murdered. You can Google it. You can learn about the family. You can learn about the charges. You can follow them outside when they come out of prison. You can write to them in prison if you want to. I don't do that, but if you want to. And so I watch those kinds of reality shows about cooking and about crime. So when she started talking about the Real Housewives of Atlanta, I'm like, So I am one of those ones who I will save my commentary for after I've seen it. Like, I try not to say too much about what something is if I haven't taken the time to read it or to watch it or to research it. So I usually reserve my comments. And that's what I did. I said, I cannot answer this. I don't know nothing about the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I need to watch it. And I think that's probably what started me on this journey of watching for the critique. I knew that I was going to be paying close attention to the way that Black women were showing up for each other or against each other. I knew that I was going to be watching for how Black women present themselves to the world. I knew I was going to be watching for that. And I knew that I was going to compose some kind of response or reaction to it. So I am literally watching this show to critique it. Now, in my opinion, the way I understand a critique could be good or bad. Just because I critique something doesn't mean that I'm saying something negative about it. So I wasn't looking to say something negative about it. I was looking to offer a response to what I was seeing on TV. So I might need to give her credit. Shout out to my cousin Candace for sending me on this road where it is now natural and a normal part of my life to watch something, to listen to something, to read something simply for the critique. So here go to Kia. What you say? What is this thing? Okay, there's it. So Kia said they cut up sideways on that show. And I honestly used to keep up and actually follow the show. But now, again, I'm tired. Takia said they cut up sideways on that show. And I honestly used, I used to watch it too. Like, I had no problem with it. I was watching it, but now, I ain't gonna be able to do it. I ain't gonna be able to do it. That's funny. And that's basically how I feel. So it was after I started watching the show. And let me tell you, I did get hooked on it. I got so hooked on it that that my response to myself, I got so hooked on it that after getting hooked, I stopped watching TV altogether. When at the time I was a pastor in Gulfport, Mississippi. I lived in the parsonage, and there were already and I had a TV in my bedroom. I had a TV in the other room. I had 2 TVs in the house. And I was watching it so much. And at that time we had DVR. So there was no reason for me to be up at night, not sleeping, not working on my sermons, not preparing my, not working on Sunday school. Like there was no reason for me to be stuck and glued to the TV because I could record it. And I had other things to do. I had a whole congregation to care for. And I can't look at night. I'm up watching this show. So when I moved from Gulfport, I didn't have TVs. I moved from Gulfport in 2014. And from 2014 to my mama came to live with me in 2020. So for 6 years, after watching the Real Housewives, getting hooked on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, I did not have TV in my home. I have TV in my home now because of my mama. But this TV, I'm in the front room. This TV has not been on since her energy shifted on July 12th of last year, because it was on because she passed during the day. So it was on before she passed. It was on Gunsmoke. But once she was gone, this TV has not been on. And the other one is streaming my reality crime shows and my reality cooking shows in the bedroom. So Takia says, it's easy to get hooked. Between the catchphrases, the drama, the cliffhangers, baby, I was talking to the TV. Excuse me? Girl, are you crazy, child? Mm-mm. You know what? I used to watch, oh my goodness, Bob's Burgers. I love Bob's Burgers. And Gene, I think, is my favorite character. And I think it was him. Somebody said something. He said, excuse me? So when you said excuse me, I thought about Gene. Like, yes, I was totally hooked. And part of it was my dumbfoundedness. Like, this what we doing? Like, whoa. So my reaction, so I did watch it. I did get hooked on it. I did circle back to my cousin and said, no, I don't think this is an accurate portrayal of Black women. Number one, because I don't know any Black women who act like this. None. I feel like I have friends in most circles. Like I know people who have been unsheltered. I know people who are considered middle class. I know people who are considered to be the wealthy. I know people who live in what we consider to be what I consider to be mansions. You know, like I know people that have, you know, jets and pools. Like I know, like, so I feel like, you know, I've been in a lot of spaces. I've been in a lot of countries. I've been in a lot of states. And I'm like, what? No, man. You know, I'm not saying that there's no truth at all, because I do believe that art imitates life on some level. But I'm also pretty sure that y'all have made this up, and you all have what do you call it? Choreographed. y'all to produce this and edited it so that it gives these certain effects. So I was like, no, I don't think this is an accurate portrayal of Black women. And I still don't. I stand by it. As a matter of fact, when I was looking up this particular clip, I saw a picture of Nene Leakes and with her new face, all the cosmetic surgery she's gotten. And I'm like, now y'all need to change the name, because y'all done had so much cosmetic surgery across the board of y'all ain't real nowhere. Not even in your acting. I mean, your acting skills may be real, but what you are showing us, the content ain't real. Your face ain't real. Your butt ain't real. Your lips ain't real. Like, so don't use the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now, having said that, please do not get offended. If you want to have plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery, do you. I'm just playing around with the name of the show, The Real Housewives. That's all I'm doing. And so the clip that I was looking for is the clip between Sheree and her party planner, Anthony, because they get into it. Now, this is another reason we know this is not real, because Sheree and Anthony are really friends in real life, and she brought him on the show on purpose. And so for them to have this little tip, it's like, I feel like this is a little contrived. I feel like this is a little made up. But anyway, it's a great clip. So Sheree is talking to Anthony about the party that he was supposed to be planning. He was supposed to have a helicopter. It was supposed to be this. It was supposed to be that. And apparently from the clip, just watching the clip alone, it's clear that Anthony is not doing that. It's clear that Sheree doesn't even want to talk to Anthony about it. She wants to talk to Keisha because she feels like Keisha is the better person for the job, especially in this moment. So when she's like telling him, look, I don't want you, you ain't got the chops that Keisha has. Like, I don't even want to talk to you. Get me Keisha. Anthony gets offended. And so now there's this back and forth. Now there's this back and forth about, this party. And then as if to intimidate Sheree, Anthony says, you better watch it before you get checked. So he's, he in her face like this, he letting her know he done dropped the bass in his voice. He done changed his tone so she can know he's serious. Like all of the things that we do, especially as Black folks, because I don't care what nobody say. Don't nobody gesticulate like Black folks. And I'm not just talking about the head roll. I'm talking about all of it, baby. We gives you all of our body when we talking, especially when we go and slap off. And it don't matter whether you're male, female, it don't matter. We're going to put our body into it. So that's exactly what Anthony does. He's like, you better watch it before you get checked. And so he considered that to be a way of, getting her to back down, to back off. And Sheree leaned across that table and she looked at him and she said, who gonna check me, boo? She had on shades. I wish I had on this shades. She had on shades on. She said, who gonna check me, boo? And I don't know if it went. You knew what I was gonna say. You knew what I was gonna say. She said, who gonna check me, boo? But I tell you, listen, I do not believe that the Real Housewives of Atlanta is a proper, accurate, even realistic portrayal of Black women. I recommend it for entertainment purposes only. Don't walk away from the show thinking you know Black women. Please do not do that. Don't approach no Black woman thinking you know her based on what you see at this show. Do not assume how a Black woman is going to respond or react to something because you're watching these Black women. Do not do any of that. Just laugh at it. Get mad about it, whatever emotions you feel in the moment, do all of that. But even though I don't feel like it's something that is accurate for our lives, when Takia said catchphrases, baby, when it talks about the drunk, she said, who gonna check me, boo? And so that's what I want to talk about tonight, because that's the topic for tonight's conversation, is check 'em. Sheree is not the least bit intimidated by Anthony saying you might get checked. She's wondering who has the gumption, especially in this room. Like right now in this room, in this conversation where it's me and you, both of us going back and forth. You think that you're going to make me back down because you done got in my face. You think you're going to make me back down because I feel some kind of insecurity. You think I'm scared of you? You think I can't stand 10 toes down on my business? You think I can't stand 10 toes down for myself? Like, what you think about to happen right now? What you think you finna do to me in this space that's going to cause me to not be who I am? That's going to cause me to not stand firm on the essence of who I am. Like, what you think finna happen? Takia said, you could hear the record scratch when he said that to her. How the record sound? I wish I could make the record scratch sound. I got to remember to bring my phone up in here because I got to start having some sound effects. You know how the record be like, She leaned over and said, who gonna check me, boo? And so I'm thinking about that, like, who's gonna check her? Because she is basically daring. Basically, in this point, she is daring Anthony. What the old people say, I double dog dare you to check me. I dare you to start feeling yourself to the point where you think that you're gonna come at me sideways. I wish you would. Who gonna do it, boo? Who you gonna do it? I doubt very seriously that you able to do it. Check. Talking about something, I'm finna get checked. And so both of them are on some level acting like bullies because at this point the conversation has dissolved. So they are not acting like grown folks who know how to communicate effectively. That ship has sailed. That's not what is happening. They really are coming for each other. They really are at each other's throat. They really are in a very unhealthy, toxic moment in this conversation. That's the point where they have reached in this clip. And so they are basically acting like bullies. Anthony talking about you about to get checked, and she's like, who gonna check? It's like that. And so both sides of those arguments can be made today about what it means to be a bully and how bullies are showing up in our presence right now. But I really only want to focus on the one side. Now, I don't know which side I think I don't want to say that. Maybe we'll have time to talk about both sides. But I'm just going to start with the part of it when the part of the conversation where I am encouraging you to be more like Anthony, to let somebody know that you about to get checked. Not only are you about to get checked, I'm going to check you. Like, you can let them know with your behavior, with your body language. You can let them know with the change in your tone, but you don't mind checking them. Anthony's like, listen, you need to watch out because you about to get checked. I'm letting you know that I ain't scared of you. I'm not going to back down. I am firm about what I mean. Now, don't get me wrong. He does back down. But when he says those words, you better watch out. You going to get, before you get checked. He really said it like he meant it. Like, I am well able to check you. Oh, I guess I should spend some time talking about what it means to check somebody. I'm not advocating for you to get into this kind of conversation where it has dissolved and y'all coming for each other and y'all raising your voices and you're probably going to cuss at some point because they do cuss each other out. That's not what I'm saying. To check somebody simply means to hold them accountable. And you're holding them accountable for their behavior, for their actions, for their reactions, for their behavior, for the words that come out of their mouths, for the harm that they cause, for the trauma that they inflict, for the violence that they perpetrate. You're holding that. So checking a person is to say, listen, I see you. Remember, in the spirit of Salbona, I see you. And I allow you to bring the whole of who you are into my space. And I receive the whole of who you are. But that don't mean that because you come, that's who you are, you can just do whatever you want. So many people right now in relationships with us, our relationships are not as fruitful as they could be because people want to fall back on their own catchphrase, which is, well, that's just the way I am. Well, no, just because that's the way you are doesn't mean that that's wholesome and healthy, and that doesn't mean it's going to work in this relationship, and that doesn't mean that we're not going to check you and hold you accountable for the way you should be. Okay, so maybe you are mean and hateful, Denise. Maybe you are violent. Maybe you are traumatic. Maybe you are harmful. Maybe you are trauma-inducing. That don't make it right. And even though you are allowed in this space because you are human, we're going to let you know that ain't right. I am not afraid to say it. I'm not afraid to have the conversation. I'm not afraid to make you mad. I'm not afraid to watch your frustration. I'm not afraid to see you get, to see your comeback. I'm not afraid of any of those things because when I am standing on business, and tonight we're talking about spiritual business, yeah, I'm going to check you. I ain't got no problem holding you accountable. None whatsoever. That's what I want to encourage you to do because I do not see that happening. We've been watching the world of Christianity dissolve. The system of Christianity, where we've got this movement by folks that we are calling white evangelical Christians that have taken the religion, have taken a turn with the religion that many people did not expect. People did not expect religion, the Christian religion, to take the turn where they are actually blatantly supporting and embracing and using God to support and to support racism, sexism, homophobia, xenophobia, to deny people rights, environmental rights, reproductive rights. They just did not see this coming, where there would be a voice of a loud, triumphant voice of Christians who support evil. That just was not something that people expected to see. And so they are so fierce and they are so forceful that many of us are being silenced by their fierceness and silenced by their forcefulness to the point that we are not able to offer the check. We can't check them because we're scared. Here's Takia. Takia says, I had a history teacher that told me your rights end where mine begin. Now, granted, she was talking about the Constitution and Supreme Court rulings, but that has been my reason to check people who disrupt my space. My history teacher said, your rights end where mine begin. Yeah, she's talking about the Constitution, but I'm talking about Takia. And I'm talking about Denise. And you can talk about you. You don't get to deny my rights for the sake of yours. What we all get to do is honor everybody's rights. That's what we get to do. Like, that's the way to go. So yeah, your rights end. So if you say, well, I got free will, I got the right to swing if I get mad. Okay, you can swing if you get mad, but when you hit me, when you swing, okay, now you don't have the right to do that, because now you have disrupted my space, my peace. You have put your hands on me, and it's about to go down. Period. Point blank, period. If it's me that you hit. I don't know how nobody else gonna respond, but it's about to go down if you hit me. And so we've got this movement of folks who are being so bold and so brave and so brazen in the name of Jesus, that those of us who are Christian in another way, those of us who do not practice our Christianity through the lens of being the oppressor, because that's what many of us have been taught to do. But several of us have said, no, I divest from that system. I'm not doing that. That ain't who God is. That ain't who Jesus is. Stop lying on Jesus. Like, I'm not even going to help you with that conversation. As a matter of fact, I'm going to check you on it. There are many of us who have. But so many of us are silent right now because we are afraid to check these evangelical Christians. And I say white because that's what the face of the movement is, but it's plenty of black folks who feel the same way. It's plenty of people of color who feel the same way. So let's not get that twisted. But we are not checking people. We are not holding people accountable for the embodiment of their faith that harms folks. The way you are showing up as a Christian is harmful. The way you are showing up as a Christian is violent. The way you are showing up as a Christian is evil. The way you are showing up as a Christian is not of God. We're not having those conversations. Instead, we hear people talk about this kind of unfruitful Christianity. We see people making moves. We know that they're voting in the wrong ways, and we start talking about, well, you know, everybody got a right to their opinion, and well, you know, I just try to stay out of politics, or well, you know, they're not talking to me. So like, we come up with all of these excuses to not check folks, that it made me say, okay, maybe we need to be reminded of the word, not just so we can say God said it, but so that we can interpret it in a way that it can be applied to our lives. Because many of us quote the scripture, but we don't understand it enough to apply it. And since we don't apply it, we don't live it. And since we don't live it, God ain't showing up. And that's just the way that unfolds. That's just the way that line of thought has to play itself out. And so if you look at 1 Timothy chapter 2, I really want to say it's verse 7. I got 6 through 11 pulled up. I might show it to you and I might not. But 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 7 says, God has not given us a spirit of fear. Let's just stop right there. If you say that you are faithful to a God, I don't care who the God is. It does not matter to me if you are Christian in this space, if you used to be Christian in this space, if you don't like Christians in this space, if you're Buddhist in this space, if you follow the Tao, if you are Jehovah's Witness, like, it does not matter to me. If you say that there is a God in your life that you believe is bigger than everything that you can imagine, and that God is at work in this world, if that is what you believe as a person who is faithful, regardless of the name of that God, then this God says to you, there's no reason for you to be scared. Let me tell you what my daddy used to tell us. Somebody challenged me today on the freedom of my mind and dared to suggest that I'm not free. And I said, you don't know me. I guarantee you that Denise Lachelle Donnell is as free as can possibly be because of her mind. Now, no, and I said this, nobody's body is free because of the world in which we live in. But my mind, you don't know nothing about me if you don't think I'm free, because not what you hear me say on the radio, not because of what I preach, not because of what I write, not because of the art I design and create, but because I grew up with a daddy who believed in every ounce of his big old being, whether you knew him at the time where he was big because he was muscle, he had so many muscles because he was a football player, or when you knew him when he was big because he came morbidly obese with too much fat. Regardless of which time you saw him, he was a big old man. And in every ounce of his big old body, he taught all three of his children, including his only daughter, who was the apple of his eye, the youngest of his children, that we ain't scared of no man save God. Don't nobody, ain't nobody worthy of us being intimidated by them. Ain't nobody worthy of us cowering down to them. Ain't nobody worthy of us being too afraid to open our mouths. Ain't nobody gonna make us turn around. Ain't nobody gonna make us stand down. Even if we go down, we gonna go down standing firm on the fact that I ain't never scared you. Listen, you know how people say you got the wrong one? We used to say, you picked the right one today, because I'm gonna let you know. Like, that's the daddy that I came from. And so this idea, this notion, I didn't need the Bible to tell me. I was already living that way down in my Chandalaha. I ain't never scared, but this God supports that. This in the Bible, it says, I have not given you a spirit of fear. Ain't nothing happening in this world that you need to be afraid of, because the person that you say is bigger than the whole world, if that's who you embody, why are you scared? What? Your arm's too short to box with God. Here's Takia. Said, we were just talking about this at lunch. My coworker said Christians are soft, meaning that we let things fly and let people mask their toxicity with religion when we know that their actions and beliefs are not of God. Y'all was just talking about this at lunch. She said, we were just talking about this at lunch. Christians are soft. And it's interesting that you say that, because during the same time when I was pastor of more than one congregation, but the congregation where I was pastor for 5 years, of course, I have more experiences because I was there longer. But it was at that very church that God and I got into it big time. Because again, I'm living in the parsonage, I'm living alone, and I'm trying to, it's my job to pastor this congregation. And one of the verses of scripture that I held tight to my chest, I mean, it was dear to me, is that the pastor is the overseer of your soul. So I took that seriously, that it is my responsibility to gently guide your soul to all the truth that we know about Christ. And so I'm alongside you for the most sacred journey of all that I felt as a pastor. I'm here to oversee your soul. Like, that's what I'm supposed to do. And there were some moments when I was trying to do that people were talking to me any kind of way. Because remember now, well, I don't want to say remember, you might not know this. I don't even know if I've shared this. But that church in Mississippi City was a predominantly white. No, it wasn't a predominantly white church. It was an all-white church. The only black person in the church was me, and you couldn't count me as a member because I was appointed to the church. So I wasn't a member. I was appointed as the pastor. We do not get counted in membership. So there were no black members of the church. And so there was a lot coming up around race, around sex, around class, around gender. Like, I was living at a lot of intersections. And some people were talking to me any kind of way because they thought they could, white privilege, whatever. Implicit bias, like all of that was going on. Microaggressions, all of that was going on. And so I at first was thinking that, well, I cannot like go off like I would if I was in the street. Wait, Takia's asked, oh, was this the one you were? So it was. So your thing, she said, was this the one you were at off of Northside Drive? Okay, off Northside Drive, that was Blair Cathedral. They called it Cathedral. That was Blair African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church. That's what church that was off Northside Drive in Jackson, Mississippi. That's the church that I started going to. That's the church where I felt like I received my call to the ministry. So that was before I even got into preaching at all. So now that church was like my stomping ground, like where I was getting my where I was learning and getting introduced to Jesus in a new way, because I grew up with Jesus, but I didn't really get to know him until I started going to that church you're talking about. So that's Blair Cathedral. I think it's still there, AME Zion Church. So this is Mississippi City United Methodist Church. So at this point, I've been to seminary, I've been ordained, I've been an associate pastor, I've been a senior pastor of a Black church in Greenville, and now I am the senior pastor, the only pastor at Mississippi City United Methodist Church. So that's where we are. And so people are talking to me any kind of way. And so I did not believe that I had the right to go off on them. I did not feel that would be of God. I did not feel that would be pleasing to God. I did not feel like God called me to this space to respond in those ways. And so I would not respond in the way that I felt like the way that I grew up. Like I would not respond in those ways. But it would infuriate me, and I would go home and I would have a conversation with God, and I would say to him that I don't like being a Christian, because Christians allow people to walk all over you. If that's what Christianity means, I don't want no parts of it. Because what you cannot do is walk over me. What you cannot do is talk to me crazy. Like I was having this, so you're gonna have to come up with another system, sir, because we're not gonna. It ain't gonna end well up in here, because the more I hold in, when it finally comes out, baby, it's gonna blow everybody up, and it might even blow me up in the process, and I would not even care at that point. So I'm like, God, you're gonna have to give me some other kind of way of being a Christian, because this letting them talk to me crazy, it ain't gonna work. And so I really believe that there are so many people like the folks you're talking to at lunch, Takia, who are having this conversation, that you see the same thing. The same thing that I was embodying. No, we better not say that. No, we got to be careful. No, we got to be holy. And I don't think that's who God is at all. Now, do I think that's who they have painted Jesus to be? Do I think they have constructed a way for us to respond with this whole turn the other cheek stuff so that it keeps us not checking folks? Now, I believe that. I believe those of us who don't think that we can hold people accountable as Christians, hold them accountable as Christians, but as Christians also hold other Christians accountable. I think that we're caught up in this construct, because I don't believe that westernized Christianity has introduced us to Jesus yet. I don't think that we have met or know the Jesus of the Bible. We know the Jesus that we've been indoctrinated to know, the Jesus who's the suffering servant, the Jesus who, no matter what you do to my body, you can just treat me any kind of way. I'm going to still be, I'm going to still let the Lord use me. You know, like that Jesus that's soft, that Jesus that's the lamb, that ain't the real Jesus. That ain't the real Jesus. Woo! So Takia says, woo, they didn't know what they were capable of. When your index finger goes up and those voice inflections kick in, check them. Yes, look, Takia knows me better than some of y'all. She's seen me in some rare forms on the dance floor, on the dance team, in the classroom. But yeah, you know, there is no reason. Oh, here's Takia again. Takia says, Jesus also flipped tables. Let's just drop that right there. Jesus flipped tables. He went in, I'm talking about angry. He flipped tables, and then he shooed. He didn't kill any of the animals. He get everything up out of here. Everything, get it up out of here right now. I'm talking about that's who Jesus is as revolutionary. That's who Jesus is as unafraid. That's who Jesus is as unapologetic. That ain't the Jesus we've been taught to follow. We've been taught to follow a Jesus that's quiet and just gonna wait on the second coming, and then everything gonna turn out all right when finally Jesus, when he finally cracks the sky again, when God tells him to. That ain't Jesus. I don't see that nowhere. Jesus calling you a brood of vipers. We don't talk about that. And so I told God I'm not going to be able to do that. And we have to raise up even now and get to the point where we are not at all living our Christian faith through the lens, through the gaze of fear. What are you afraid of? If you check a Christian, or if you check somebody who's talking about Christianity, and however they're talking about it, however the conversation is, what are you afraid of in the midst of the conversation? What they go? This is when now I want to shift to the side of Sheree. What they gonna do to you? They gonna cuss you out? Okay. They gonna stop being your friend? Okay. They ain't gonna come to church no more? Okay. They gonna stop giving their tithes? Okay. They gonna keep their children at home? Okay. What does anybody have on you that has you so afraid to say you are in the name? Look, and it might be to this point we got to make this an individual thing, in the name of my Jesus, because I'm to the point now where I just don't even believe that I'm serving the same Jesus. First of all, I don't even believe I'm not sure I'm serving Jesus. That's a whole nother conversation for me to figure out, and that's what I'm doing with the good fight, helping me figure out my own faith. But like, what? The Jesus that I serve, the Jesus that I know, the Jesus that I'm learning more and more about each day. I don't have no reason to be scared of you with Jesus as my brother. Jesus, my brother. Remember, the Bible says that we are joint heirs with Christ. Joint heirs. That means we siblings. And again, thinking about my own siblings, the house we grew up in, my daddy gave all three of us, he poured into all three of us that same message, that same mantra, that I fear no man save God. He gave that to everybody, all his children. And so if God has given Jesus power, I'm talking about pure power, and Jesus, my brother, and we got the same parent, I got that same power. If Jesus ain't never scared, why should I be? Scared of what? Zakia said, what Monique say? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Wait, let me stand. I can't stand because I done got ticked. What Monique say? What you gonna do? Because I guarantee you can't beat me up. What you gonna do? I guarantee you can't beat me up. What you gonna do? So Sharada asked the question, who gonna check me, boo? Monique asked the question, what you gonna do? And now Denise is asking you the question, what you scared of? What they gonna do? What they gonna do? Monique said, what they gonna do to you? What can they do to you? And some of you all are saying, well, girl, you know, these days people so violent, they might kill you. Okay. I have said this and I will continue to say this. I do not understand how people who profess to be Christian are scared to die when the only way you can get to heaven is to die, and you say heaven is your goal. So if you want to get to heaven, so what if somebody threatens your body? Ain't that your ticket in the gate? So why are you scared to die? We cannot have this thing both ways. So what they gonna do to you? Because Paul said to be absent from the body is to be present for the Lord. Again, he is encouraging you to be so firm in your faith that even if it means death, you're still willing to do it. Where is that sentiment of Christianity? Because I don't see it. I see the evangelicals going crazy, and I see us sitting back watching them. And then wondering how come people are listening to them. Well, we ain't saying that. We scared. So it says, so the 1 Timothy chapter 2, I just stopped at the beginning. God has not given us a spirit of fear. It goes on to say, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. We ain't got fear. Let me tell you what we do have. We got the spirit of power. We got love, and we have a sound mind. Sound mind has nothing to do with brain health. Sound mind doesn't mean that we are not on the spectrum of autism. It doesn't mean that we don't suffer from depression or anxiety. It doesn't mean that we don't take medication for schizophrenia. It doesn't mean any of that. Sound mind really is translated as self-control. So when we talk about this conversation that we have with folks, that we should be having with folks, where we are going to check them because we're going to hold them accountable for what they say about my God, what they say about God, or who they say God is, then I'm going to hold you accountable, because I don't mind. I don't mind the conversation, because I'm entering the conversation knowing that I have self-control. So I'm not going to allow the conversation to dissolve the way Sheree and Anthony's conversation dissolved, that they get to pieces where now we yelling at each other and we cussing each other out. I'm not going to allow that to happen, because I have self-control. I have enough self-control to have this conversation. I got enough self-control to check you. I got enough self-control to react, to refrain from reacting to your reaction from getting checked. Like, I have the ability through the Spirit of God to handle the conversation in a way that does not allow us to go inhumane on each other, but still gives me every right and every boldness, and with boldness and with confidence, to make sure I let you know that what you're doing is dead wrong, and I'm not gonna stand for it, and you absolutely will not do it in my presence. When I am facilitating conversations with folks, we do this thing at the beginning where we call them touchstones, where as a gathered group of humans, we decide how we are going to be in relationship with each other through conversation. What are some guidelines that we need to put in place so that everybody can feel safe, everybody can feel that they're able of being transparent and comfortable, transparent and vulnerable in the space. So people want to use that word safe all the time. And so I have, those are the tools that they gave me as a facilitator. But once I started facilitating, I realized I cannot guarantee anybody's safety. When we are having conversations that involve these topics that are, they are emotion filled, they are history written, like they are loaded. I mean, emotions run high in these conversations. I cannot guarantee your safety. And I have now since started saying that to folks, because the reason I cannot guarantee your safety in the room is because I cannot control what comes out of somebody else's mouth. I don't know. I know what I'm going to say. I know what my partner is going to say. I know what my colleagues are, how they're going to react, because all of that is scripted. But when it comes to people in the room that have been invited to the space that we just not meeting for the first time, I don't know what they're about to say. So they may say something harmful. They may cause some trauma. They might do that. So I can't guarantee that this room is going to be safe. But the second thing I say is, but I can guarantee you that I'm going to arrest it when it comes out of their mouth. I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that I'm going to handle it. I can guarantee you I'm going to mitigate it. I can guarantee you that you will not leave out here wounded in the way that they intended, with those, well, the way that, because sometimes they don't intend it, but the harm that was caused, that was inflicted, I guarantee you that won't happen. So here's Vernon. Don't be afraid, because they are going to... Let me see. Don't be afraid, because they are... Maybe it's don't be afraid of what they are going to do, because you are peace. Okay, this is what I think. I'm understanding Vernon to say. Don't be afraid because of what they are going to do, because you are peace. Even with a sword, you are peace. In other words, it's God's word through us. This is God talking through Vernon, as Vernon talking as God. Like, I don't have no problem with it either way. It's like, look, you are peace. Even though I have a tattoo on my wrist right here. It is an olive branch, and it came from that same conversation I was having with God about how I cannot be in this capacity as a spiritual leader in the context as one who allows people to talk to them any kind of way. Like, you're gonna have to teach me how to pastor in a different way. And so with this, what this olive branch says is that I come speaking the truth. I'm gonna speak the truth. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna say what needs to be said. I'm not gonna hold back, but I'm gonna speak it in love. Yeah. So I come bearing the truth, and the truth hurts. The truth cuts. The truth severs. The truth causes all kinds of chaos. That's what the truth does. And I'm bringing it. I'm bringing whatever comes with the truth. I'm bringing it. No longer afraid of it, but I'm doing it in love. And so I feel like that's what Vernon is saying. Like, we are peace. So I'm showing up to hold you accountable, but I'm doing that from a place of peace. Yes, I might have the sword of truth in my hand. Absolutely. And I'm going to use it to cut up all these lies and these false narratives and these myths. I'm absolutely going to do that, but I'm still peace for you and for me. So the conversation does not have to go all the way to the left, because I have also the spirit of a sound mind. I don't have the spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. So I'm coming to check you, but I'm coming to do it in a way that you can receive the check. Because my goal is not to piss you off. That ain't my goal. My goal is not to see if you cuss, because I used to think that was some people. I used to tell people that. I believe y'all just want to know, do I cuss? Y'all just trying to see, does Denise cuss? Like, is she will she cuss herself? I did. I think that's what, I really think that's what people do. They trying to see if I will cuss. No, that's not the goal. The goal is accountability. We cannot live into the spirit of oneness, which is our humanity, if we do not hold each other accountable when we don't show up as human. I don't care if you put God's stamp on it. You can say God said it all you want to. I know when you are inflicting violence on somebody in the name of Jesus, not because I need the Bible to tell me, because you can feel it in your spirit. You know right from wrong because you feel it in your spirit. And there are times when you're not even sure if harm has been inflicted until you look at the person that's being talked to. My mama was a battered woman. And one day, my daddy was just being mean and hateful and talking crazy to her. And I don't think he said anything to her that she has never heard him say before. I really don't believe that he had. Only this time he said it in front of me. And it was mean. And it was hateful. And it was wrong. And because I grew up in this home, like I said, I don't think it's anything that he's ever not said to her. But when I looked at her, because that's the first thing I did after he said it, I'm like, what did he just say? And I looked at her. Her soul was crushed. So even if I was wondering if it was a bad thing, because since it's him, he say bad, when I looked at her, I knew that he had gone too far. And so sometimes it is your own humanity when you see when you look in the eyes of somebody else that you realize you need to step up right now. You can't let this go. Even though it didn't harm you, because you have different ways, there's different things that cause you to react in certain ways, but it killed them. So wait a minute. Vernon says, people will test you. People are always testing you. Always. Have y'all been even your partners? Have y'all been in a relationship with partners where they do stuff and then you say something and they're like, oh, I wanted to see what you were going to say. What is we doing? It says because they want to see, they want to see power. Who wants to see Vernon? Vernon said because they want to see power. Who wants to see power? Tell me who you're talking about, because I've been talking so much. I don't remember what I said that prompted you to say because they want to see power. I know I want to see power, and I want to see power through the check. I want to see us, whether you call yourself Christian. This ain't got nothing to do with Christianity. This has to do with being human. When you see something that's wrong, you say something. When you see someone who needs protection, you protect them. When you see somebody who needs to be checked, you check them. When you see somebody who needs to be taken down a notch, take them down a notch. So this is what Takia says. Play stupid games. Takia said, okay. Play stupid games, you're going to win stupid prizes. What you mean you wanted to see what I was going to say? Yes, I I've been in relationships like that. Play stupid games, you win stupid prize. And they got a stupid prize. Because, listen, I am not ashamed of the gospel that is Denise Donnell. I will go slap left. Play with me if you want to. And I think we all have that, because there's also a side of me that's, soft and tender and loving and kind. Will do anything and everything I can possibly do, humanly do, to help. But don't play with me. Oh, okay. So the people who test you, I might not be interpreting this right, but this done tickle me. They test you because they want to see power. Oh, okay. This is where I say, like I tell you, you done picked the right one today. I'm going to show you what happens when you test me, because I ain't never scared. And so that's what tonight is about. Tonight is about reminding us that there is no reason for us to be afraid by Christian bullies or any other kind of bully who thinks that they can say and do whatever they want to do because they're going to add Jesus' name to it. They're going to put the God stamp on it and walk around here like it's okay. It is not okay, and it is up to us to be reminded that we do not live our faith from a space of fear. We have no reason to be afraid, because you got power. You are love, and you got self-discipline. So let's have the real conversations that we need to have, that we got to have, if we want to see a change right now in the world. Thank y'all so much for joining me for the good fight. I'll be right back here next Tuesday, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. I can't wait.